I am so excited to talk to you. I know I love the film, and it's been almost 20 years since you acted in a major American major motion picture. How was it coming back into the world of acting after being gone for so long, regarding like the American studios?
First of all, hi Laura. Thank you for having
Hi.
me. Uh, you know, yeah, it's been so long. It's been more than 20 years. I'm overwhelmed with emotions right now because I'm still processing how all of this came to be. Really, I have a lot of questions and very few answers. Uh, I once thought that my return to acting is a distant dream. And the Daniels, I'm so grateful to them because they made it into a reality.
Hmm.
And it's it's been every time I think back how I got here, it tears me up. So yeah.
Well, you remained in the industry for so many years after leaving acting, going to film school, working behind the scenes. But now, with your return to acting, does working behind the scenes give you a bigger appreciation for on camera work or even behind the scene work?
Oh, when I stepped away from acting and went to film school and started working behind the camera,
Hmm.
and I was able to see now I was able to see how making a movie from all different angles. I appreciate everybody, especially the crew.
Hmm.
How much work that they have to put in. They're the ones that show up the earliest on the set, and they're the last to leave. And every single one of them, from the top all the way to the bottom, to the production assistants. So you do have an appreciation for that once when you have been there and done that. Uh, and it's, I mean, really, it's I'm so glad that I'm able to do this again, to have the second chance, really, at something that I truly, truly love. Um, I, 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 I always feel like everything has to happen the way it did, in the order it did,
Yeah.
for this to happen. And I certainly don't take it for granted. I appreciate it much more because when I was a kid, I didn't go looking for acting. It
Hmm.
came looking for me. I happened to be at the right place at the right time when Steven Spielberg was looking for a kid to be Indiana Jones' sidekick, and I had the best of time. But the irony is that when I got older and I fell in love with acting, and I really wanted to do it, and I really wanted to pursue it, it wasn't there for me. So all of that is not lost on me, and I'm very aware of it. And so I think that's what makes this coming back even more meaningful, I think.
Well, no, definitely. Like, with everything everywhere all at once, everything happens for a reason, and there's different timelines of that. And, you aren't just playing one version of your character, you're playing so many different versions. How was it preparing, since you're coming back, how was it preparing these different versions? It's not like you get to focus on one character. It's like, I'm back, let me focus on this one character. You had to do different versions of these characters. How was it doing that? And where did you draw inspiration from for each one?
Okay, so I was really excited when I was offered the role, but at the
Mhm.
same time, I was extremely nervous, not having done it for so long. So luckily, we had 3 months to prepare.
Mhm.
So I hired an acting coach, a dialogue coach, a voice coach, because I wanted them to sound different, and then a body movement coach. And my body movement coach had a really interesting process. He would read the script and he would pick specific animals for me to do to represent the characters. For example, Alpha Wayman, he would pick an eagle. And CEO Wayman, he would pick a fox because he's so cool. And for the Wayman in this universe, he picked a squirrel. And I was required to do homework. So I would watch countless videos of nothing but squirrel on YouTube. And I was also required to print out pictures of different looking squirrels, and I would have them all over the wall just to get into that mindset. And the process starts with me being in this theater on the ground, 100% squirrel. And I was literally like crawling, looking, eating like a squirrel. And I would slowly transform 100% into my Wayman. And that was my process, getting into the character physically. That was the physical part because, it was so important to me that the audience can distinguish the different versions of Wayman just by how he stands, how he moves. And
Mhm.
and there's also the emotional aspect of it. And I really reached deep within me and took myself, back all those years, all my life experience, because all these three different Waymans represented different parts of my life. And at different phases of my life, I would look to them for guidance or for advice for,
Mhm.
where should we go next? Because I was so lost at one time, because I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So it was, and I pour my entire life into these three different characters.
Well, the film is so touching too. Like your character has so much heart, and I wrote in my review like the character is the heart of the story. And there's so much symbolism for the film on parent relationships, generational trauma, finding your purpose in life, appreciating what you have, finding love, and multiple meanings behind it. What did you take from this film?
I love what my character Wayman stands for, empathy, because I think we all know empathy creates a pathway for understanding and acceptance. And I know, for the last 2 years, everybody has been through so much. It's been so difficult. Everybody I know has experienced some kind of loss. And if there's one thing that I want people to walk away from our movie is Wayman's message. Please be kind. Be kind to one another. Uh, in fact, Jamie Lee Curtis is very, very sweet. She saw the movie for the first time, and that scene where Wayman, that speech, "Be kind," she saw it and she was so moved and she was so touched. She gave everybody, all of us, a poster that says, "Note to self: be kind, be kind, be kind."
Oh no, I really love that what the message that the film tells. But I also love that you're part of this huge production, and then you were part of a huge production back in with Steven Spielberg with the Goonies and Indiana Jones, and the production has changed like drastically since you started. What difference was it for you from the '80s working in that industry to now working in this in acting again in this industry?
Surprisingly, when I was a kid, all those sets that I walked on, they were practical. We shot everything practical. We built these amazing sets. Uh, and the Daniels chose to shoot their movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once, with practical sets. We shot the majority of the film in an abandoned building in Simi Valley. So it felt very familiar with me because I was not looking at green screen. I believe we only had 1 day of green screen, but everything was practical. The only difference between then and now is the luxury of time. Back then, we shot those movies in 5 or 6 months. For this one, we were scheduled only for 38 shooting days over an 8-week period.
Oh my God.
So it was really tight. Every day we were moving along at rapid speed. But what's really amazing is that it didn't feel rushed. I mean, in fact, every single morning we would take our time, gather the entire cast and crew together. We would do warm-ups. We would dance to music. And after that, then we all got to work.
Mhm.
And it was just we have the most amazing crew. The cast was unbelievable. And we had just the best of time making this movie. And I think you can see it. It's up on the screen, you know?
Yeah, no, definitely. And you know what? I know your comeback to on screen was because of Crazy Rich Asians, and we are seeing all these films starring Asian Americans, and it's unfortunate it took this long to see the changes. Do you feel like the changes were quickly being done, or do you feel like it still needs a lot of work?
Well, for sure, there's a lot more work to be done. It's not moving as fast as we want, but with all sustainable improvements, I mean, it happens gradually.
Mhm.
I had a really interesting conversation with James Hong while shooting this movie because he is definitely the
Mhm.
OG, starting in the business in the 1950s. And it's incredible how his passion for acting has not waned one bit. That passion for acting is still burning bright and shiny. And he would share me stories about how difficult it was to be an actor in the 50s and the 60s. And he said he can't believe that we waited 70 years. I waited 38 years for this movie to come along. I know over the last few years, I'm so grateful for the Asian representation that we have been seeing. We had Fresh Off the Boat, Crazy Rich Asians, The Farewell, of course, Shang-Chi. We have our own superhero now. And now this, our movie. And I'm not the type of person that likes to look in the past. I want to look forward. I'm optimistic. I'm inspired. I'm hopeful where things are right now and where things are moving. But let's keep at it. And honestly, one thing I do want to say too is, I met a lot of people over the years, the Asian talents working in Hollywood today. And they always come up to me and they say, Ke, you're the OG, man. Thank you for paving the way for us to be here. And what's really interesting is that they are the one that paved the way for my return. They have been relentlessly chipping away all the roadblocks. And they've been doing it for so many years. Here's the thing though, it's not just about Asian representation. If my return proves anything, it's a testament to how important it is for all groups of people to be represented in entertainment. We all deserve a chance.
Yeah, I just have one more before I go. You also went by Jonathan Ke Quan before, and now you're going by your given name, Ke Huy Quan. What was the reason for this change? This will be the last question.
Okay, I think a lot of minorities can relate to this.
Yes.
Sometimes our names takes a minute for people to figure out. Some butcher it completely. Some don't even bother with it at all. And I remember I did a television show. It was taped in front of a live audience. And right before each taping, the cast would be introduced. And every time the announcer got to my name, he would struggle. And for whatever reason, I thought it would just make things easier if I had a traditional American name. I'm sure there's a lot to be unpacked here. It could be the Asian American experience with identity, or the model minority that we all want to be. Anyway, without getting into all of that, I just want people to know the real me, and my given name carries a lot of has a lot to do with my family and my heritage. And when I decided to get back into acting, going back to my roots, I thought it was fitting to go back to my given name.
No, that's perfect. Well, thank you so much for everything, and I'm looking forward to everyone now, the open worldwide, for everyone to see how beautiful this film is. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Directors, comments and the lectures, fanboys, professional artists and professors. Maybe a nerd who's just like you, talking about the things that you like too. So I invite you to the NOC. In full color, you see me. The hard knock life, comics, movies, and TV. Yeah, pop culture with a different perspective.